Hello, and welcome to this screencast on how to build a Kahoot and use it in your classroom.
Now, we are going to start today by opening whichever web browser you are most comfortable with. Today, I will be using Google Chrome. You are going to type getkahoot.com in your web browser. At this point, you may want to pause the screen so that you can click on the orange Sign Up for Free button at the top and create an account. Okay, now that you have registered, we will go ahead and sign in. You're going to choose the Sign In option at the top. Now, you will see that the home screen looks a little bit overwhelming, but that is true of most free websites. One of the things that I love about Kahoot is that you can use quizzes that have already been created by others up here in Public Kahoots, or you can create your own quiz. Today, I'm going to walk you through creating your own quiz because it's important to be able to customize for your specific classroom needs. So to start, we are going to choose Quiz at the bottom. You will see that there are three options. With Kahoot, you can choose to create a quiz, you can choose to create a discussion, or you can choose to create a survey. But like I said, today we are going to choose the quiz option. When creating a quiz, there is background information that has to be entered. Today, for example purposes, I will be creating a Kahoot about myself. In my classroom, at the end of units, I have my students create their own Kahoots as a means of reviewing information that was taught. I teach them to create Kahoots at the beginning of the year by having them create a 5-question quiz about themselves to share with the classroom as a getting to know you activity that also allows for technology practice. So for our first quiz together, we will do the same. Now it is time to start creating questions. You will need to choose the Add Question bar in the middle of the page. For our first question, we are going to ask, how many years has Mrs. Phillips been teaching? You then need to choose a time limit for your question. The time you choose depends on how difficult the question is, the length of the question and answer choices, the type of question. For example, math questions may take a little longer because of problem solving. Or if your students are on all varying different types of reading levels, and some may take a longer time reading than others, you might want to set it for a little longer. For this one, it's a very simple question. I'm going to set the time limit as 20 seconds. Now, you have the option of 2, 3, or 4 answer choices. It's completely up to you. For this quiz, I'm going to have 4 choices. My first choice will be 5 years. I'm going to tab over. My second choice will be 22 years. My third choice will be 13 years. And my fourth choice will be 18 years. Now, a very important part that sometimes I forget, you need to mark one of these as a correct answer by clicking on the check mark beside the right answer. I have been teaching for 13 years, so that is the correct answer. Now, sometimes you might have a question that could have 2 correct answers, and you are more than welcome to choose 2 so that the kids can get it correctly either way. However, this one I have only been teaching for 13 years, so that is the only one I'm going to choose. Then I am going to click Next. On this screen, you will see the ongoing list of your questions. You can keep adding questions until you feel that your quiz is complete. For this quiz, we will add 2 more questions to make sure that we understand the process. So I need to go ahead and choose Add a Question. For our second question, we are going to ask, what is Mrs. My M does not want to work today. Favorite children's book series. I'm going to keep this one at 20 seconds as well. For this question, however, I am only going to have 3 answer choices. The first will be Skippy John Jones. The second will be Junie B. Jones. And the third will be Mercy Watson series. Again, I'm going to choose the correct answer, which in this case is Skippy John Jones. As in the title screen, you can always add an image or video to supplement the question that you are using. Just make sure that you give credit where credit is due if you so choose. For example, in this one I might want to add a picture of the Mercy Watson series, Skippy John Jones, Junie B. Jones, maybe the book covers, so that the children sort of have a reference as to what the series I'm talking about is. In this case, we're going to keep it simple and not add any pictures at this time. We are going to go ahead and click Next. Then we are going to add our third question. So I'm going to choose Add a Question again. This question is going to be, what is Mrs. Phillips' favorite fast food restaurant? Again, I'm going to keep it at 20 seconds. I'm going to choose McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and Chick-fil-A. My favorite fast food restaurant is definitely Chick-fil-A, so I'm going to choose that one as the correct answer. And then I am going to click Next. At this point, you want to look over your questions and make sure they're correct. Make sure that your time limits are set correctly, spelling issues, any of that. Like I see on this one, I forgot to put a question mark at the end of the question, so I'm going to go back in, edit, and then back to this screen. Now, you are going to want to save this quiz. You will see that there are 4 options on this screen. 3 are in the form of buttons across the middle of the page. Edit it if you need to make any changes to your quiz, add new questions, take away questions, preview it. That way you can see exactly what the students are going to see when they play the game. Or if you're ready to go ahead and play it with the students, you can definitely choose that option of play it. The 4th option is the screen button at the top that says I am done. All this will do is save it to your My Kahoots section for the option of playing it at a later time. That's what I'm going to do. And you will see that it is created in My Kahoot section as a game that I have created. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like when you play the quiz. Something you do need to know. The kids are going to log in to a different website, and I'm going to show you. They go to Kahoot.it. And this is the screen they are going to see when they play. Now, you have to give them the game pin, which will be created on this screen. There are a lot of options that we're going to walk through. I always play Classic in my classroom. You are certainly welcome to play the team mode. This is especially helpful if you don't have very many sources of technology, if maybe you only have a few students with mobile devices, or if you only have a few laptops, you can play in team mode. I always randomize the order of my questions and the order of my answers, and that is because when you are reviewing for a test, you may want to play this Kahoot more than once just to get these ideas firmly planted in your children's heads. So If you randomize the order of questions and the order of the answers, then the kids aren't just memorizing maybe the green one was right that time, so they always choose green. It's giving them more of a challenge. You also want to display the game pin throughout the game because it is inevitable that kids are going to get kicked out because of Wi-Fi issues or other internet problems. If you display the game pin throughout the whole game, then they can join back in if this does happen. Show minimized intro instructions. That you can if you want. My kids are very familiar with the game, so I don't really have to show them the instructions. Automatically move through the questions. I like to monitor the games just to make sure all the kids are on task, so I don't do that. Require players to rejoin after each Kahoot. That is also not important to me, so I leave that option off. I'm going to go ahead and choose Classic. Now, if we had opted to add a video or an image, you would see the video playing now while we are waiting for players. The kids are going to type in 687470 to their screen. So 687470 and enter. And then I'm going to put my name. This is what the whole class will see. They will see their names added to the screen one by one. I always look at this number here. It says one player is in now. I had 19 kids in my class, so when that number got to 19, I knew that we were ready to begin. If students put inappropriate names or nicknames that you don't want, all you have to do is click on their name and you can make them exit the screen and start over. I am going to go ahead and start the game since it is only me playing today. Okay, I see the question here. How many years has Mrs. Phillips been teaching? And I see my answer choices. What your students will see is a screen with 4 colors and 4 shapes. I know, because I created the quiz, that the answer is 13 years, so I'm going to choose the yellowish orange circle. And I got it correct. Now, it will rank the students in order of how quickly they got it correct, so that it is truly a competition between the kids in your class. It will list the top 5 players for each question, and then that changes as you go throughout the quiz. Then you may click on the next question. What is Mrs. Phillips' favorite children's book series? It is Blue, Skippy John Jones. You see there were only 3 answer choices, so I'm going to choose Blue. This is my waiting screen. I got it correct. It will give you the correct screen earlier than 20 seconds as long as every child has made a choice. Now, I'm going to click Next. What is Mrs. Phillips' favorite fast food restaurant? I know that the answer is Chick-fil-A, so I'm going to choose. We got it correct. And this also shows you that 1 person got it correct and 0 got it wrong. That is very helpful information when you have a class full to quickly see the graph and see where the struggles are within your classroom. At the end, it also gives you an option to print out data for your kids to see which ones they got wrong, where their areas of weakness may be, so that you can differentiate as needed.
Thank you for joining me in this Kahoot tutorial. I hope that you find Kahoot as user-friendly as I do.